4 panelists that I can welcome here on the stage. We will have Alexander Regner from Qtra. We will have Carsten Raven from Quantum Brilliance. We have Oliver de Vries from Optic Siena and Oliver Lischenko from CoreSense. Welcome and please come over here. Darf ich das Mikrofon? Thank you. So the topic we will discuss over the next 30 minutes. There's one speaker, but anyway, we will start anyway. The topic we want to discuss with you over the next minutes is that we are in the midst of the second quantum revolution. So this is our key topic, and I would like to start the round by giving you the opportunity to introduce yourself quickly, what you do, and what your company is doing. Carsten, you can start.
So hello everyone, my name is Carsten Raven. I'm VP of Quantum Engineering at Quantum Brilliance. We are a German-Australian startup doing full-stack quantum computing, diamond-based, and the engineering department is here in Stuttgart. So for us, this is a Heimspiel today, and very much looking forward for our panel discussion on ecosystems, on enabling technologies.
Hello, my name is Oliver de Vries. I'm a CDO and co-founder of Quantum Optic Siena. What we are doing, we thought it's time to make the second quantum revolution real, and we thought we should make a startup and build quantum technology. And so we focus in the beginning to quantum communication. So we do entanglement-based quantum key distribution. That's our application. Yeah, and here we made a lot of progress last months and years.
Thanks. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Alexander from Qtra. I'm one of the co-founders and managing director of Qtra. We're a cryogenics company located in Munich. We're a spin-off from the Technical University, founded 5 years ago. We have now 50 employees about. We're developing novel cryogenic solutions and services for breakthrough science and obviously also for quantum technologies. That's why we're here today. Because cryogenics is one of the enabling technologies needed in most quantum technologies.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to hop onto the stage 1 minute too late. My name is also Oliver. I am representing CoreSense. I'm also founder and owner and CEO of the company. CoreSense is about coherence length sensors. So we build everything that characterizes the lasers in an instant. Very high resolution, so the aim is with our product to replace traditional wave meters, power meters, optical spectrum analyzers, and make it simple for people to use them, because you don't need a PhD in physics or in engineering to actually work with things in the second quantum revolution. This is what we're here for.
Very interesting, great. And I see also a diverse panel in terms of the topics that you're working on, but what unites you is the topic of you are working on the second quantum revolution. Could you give, probably you can start, a definition, what is, in your point of view, the second quantum revolution?
Well, it's the second, so obviously it was the first. Post-war, which brought innovations like transistor, laser, LEDs, where we already started using quantum mechanical effects. However, on a different level, what is new now, the second quantum revolution, is a new era where we exploit for the very first time on the level of individual quantum states, so photons, atoms, ions, man-made, tailored quantum mechanical systems like tailored qubits, individual quantum states, and control and manipulate them. So that's the new thing, and it allows to develop completely new, also potentially very disruptive applications in quantum computing, quantum sensing, quantum communication.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Any additions from one of the other panelists?
Perfect one.
Yeah.
No, that was a perfect one.
It was a very good one. Yeah. The question is it really a second one, or is it continuum and development, and at a certain stage a threshold is reached where you think, oh, this seems like a threshold. So for me it's more a continuum, and at a certain point it becomes obvious that here something new happens and we have reach a new plateau of something we could found on new applications, new products, and so on. And I guess this is meant by the second quantum revolution. I guess there are other people that have maybe the third or the fourth meanwhile, but hey, it's just a word, a buzzword like quantum. We use it all the time, I guess.
All right, Oliver, you wanted to add something?
I think the one thing that really sets up apart, or that really justifies the word second quantum revolution, is that we take everything that's been established, like post-war to the basically the break of the century, as granted. Lasers is something that gets basically nobody excited anymore. It's a tool we use every day. It's a fundamental application, and we use it for everything, controlling individual molecules all the way to steel welding, in high precision machines and cutting applications, replacing standard machines. So it's the mastery of the equipment of the first revolution, and then finding applications for it. And I think this is where second really is. It's about going into applications rather than the fundamental physics and engineering of those tools.
It's interesting because the next question I had was, which role do enabling technologies play in that second revolution? So is it now only a combination of existing topics, or is there something, also a kind of enabling technologies that you say are relevant for the second revolution? Yeah.
So I guess enabling technologies are really like the core part of the second quantum revolution. It's all about technologies now, because we are so at the edge of technology. If this is in laser, in cooling systems, in controlling single quantum systems, this is always on the edge of technology now. So for me, enabling technologies is really part of the ecosystem to provide a very special, focused technology into the ecosystem to build quantum applications with this. So I think enabling technologies are really one of the core parts of the quantum ecosystem.
Maybe from our company's point of view, probably it's majority of some parts. So if you have the ecosystem, it was the example of Tesla. It's maybe very easy to announce we need green energy, otherwise no electric car makes sense, and we need stations where you can get the energy. So it's, I guess, for everybody here, I mean, you make cryogenic developments, and for the quantum computing community, it's very important to have probably very cold temperatures, controlled temperatures, but also the semiconductor production, or there needs to be semiconductor or supraconducting materials. So material science needs to be mature. Then detection schemes needs to be mature. Also measurement tools for having the precision to produce very small structures to control. I mean, quantum means always something small or very singular, I think. So, yeah, I guess you need a maturity or a broad spectrum of sub-technologies, I would say. And then you can build something new. I think it doesn't make sense to have a specific one picked out. This is the enabling technology for everything. I guess it's not true. I mean, it's like with the computer chips. You need the lasers to make this, for instance, XUV, lithography working. You need new materials for the mirrors to focus on. You need, for the chips, you need the architecture of the chips. You need a lot of things, really a lot of things to produce things which are totally common to use it in our smartphones or something. I mean, so a lot of stuff has to be developed, and then, something like, it was a good thing that we take something for granted. It's so mature at a certain point that you think of, now we can make something new, and this is let's call it second quantum revolution. It was a very good explanation. I like this one.
There's little to add from my end. So I think enabling already says you need these technologies. These are classic technologies, but we still need them if you want to implement valuable applications of new quantum systems. So they're really at the core of this quantum revolution. I just want to add, even though we're exploiting in this growing ecosystem enabling tech, which seems to be there already, there's still a lot to do there too. So we shouldn't take all classical enabling tech for granted. Just to give you an example, in In our field of cryogenic cooling, there's a big struggle, a big challenge to develop cooling methodologies that will be able to provide a huge amount of cooling power for a coming cold quantum industry. So this is not there yet. This is something really new that is needed and where we have to put a lot of development effort into. Although we can base this development effort on existing technologies for sure. But there's also in enabling tech, there's still a long way to go in some areas.
Yeah, and I'd like to hop onto the maturity train. It is very natural in our mentality as human beings also to take things for granted, and we need a certain peace of mind, a certain technology acceptance, a certain technology readiness in order to move on. Because else you're cluttered up with all these problems, and I think this is where the enabling tech really comes into play, and this is what we're really dealing with here. Is that's what unites all of us. Is we need to make the tools of the first revolution easy, simple, robust, and reliable to handle, to get people's mind thinking about what can they do now. So, like to prove the staging ground to then move on. And I think that is, it's not only a technology thing, but also a very important psychological barrier that you want to. In Germany, we say we don't want to build the house on sand. We want to build it on a proper foundation, right? That's mentally also very important for people.
Very good. Yeah.
I think also it comes from the funding agency, I guess. I mean, you can do something very fancy stuff, propose it, and then the funding agency says, oh come on, it's too far away from something we need now. So I guess it has to grow also politically, or in a society, that something is on a majority level where it makes sense to make a new idea, bring it in. I guess a good example is that, for instance, in the quantum communication, there was this BB84 protocol for quantum key distribution. This was far before Peter Shaw, for instance, in '95, developed even a threat to this. So the BB84, also the BBM92, this was all before there was even recognized a threat to common IT key structures and so on. This is really amazing. Someone proposing something before this. I mean, a solution for a problem where no problem exists at this time. So, and to convince people to, for instance, do, let's say, in '85, someone wanted to make quantum key distribution. No one would think this is a market because there's no demand for something like this. Yeah. Come on, we have something much better. And there's, I guess, is also a problem. The society needs to get awareness so that venture capitalists and also public funding agencies, society itself, and it gives pressure more and more that there's a need for something, and then also more people join. And then more people means more ideas, more business models, and so on. And then they get creative at a certain point, yeah. And then for startups, especially, they get entrepreneur, and then they have the bold step to go in the startup, for instance. But we all need a certain background. I mean, I don't want to jump in the sea when I don't know that there are sharks or something. So that's why I keep safe. But yeah, so the surrounding must also be at a certain maturity, let's call it like this. Yeah.
You want to add something?
Yes, maybe one thing to add. Yeah, we're talking about ecosystems. So a lot of enabling technologies in the first generation was in a value chain. In a classic value chain, you had a supplier that was developing something, throw it over the fence to the next one in the value chain. And this is changing now. So in this ecosystem, we are working all the way through the value chain, from characterization to fundamental technologies to the application. They all work together because it's so complex that you're not just taking a solution, building the next solution on top of it. It's this communication, this information across the ecosystem, which is so important.
Thanks for that. So when I was preparing this panel discussion, I was also, of course, visiting the websites of your companies, and I've seen all of you are on different, or at least I read some press releases and so on. You're in different fields active, But the question, I'm not sure if you did the same, if you also Googled yourself or visited yourself on LinkedIn and so on and so forth. Do you see a common goal of your activities? So if you're talking about this ecosystem, do you see a common goal where it would make sense?
So I guess I cannot talk for you. So I guess for us all the goal is really to realize applications with quantum technologies. Yeah, we are all at the very beginning. It's all still, let's say, very academic in the use cases. Yeah, so the dream and the hype is really to have industrial applications. If this is in quantum computing, sensing, or wherever, but I guess it's really to mature the technologies to really have large applications.
I guess, globally speaking, I guess it's always something really exciting to be in something which is very new, which seems also for outsiders relatively cool topics. I mean, I come from the laser topic field, so this was my background. So this was always, I thought, this is cool. Lasers are always cool. Now it's quantum is cool. So it gives, you know, you are part of something really new. I mean, this is what, you know, gives you all working in this field the motivation to do so. So to be a part of something exciting, where no one knows exactly which way it will go, and it's exciting simply. I guess this is always the adventure you do with a startup in general, but especially in the quantum world now, this is very exciting. There are some developments now coming in which accelerates a lot of this sub parts of, and so this joins. I mean, we are all joining in development in certain fields of the whole quantum field, and we all benefit of it. So this is the, I would say, a global view to the things, so that we are generally on a new field, and that each development in each of those many sectors inside is helping everybody a little bit.
Carsten, what is your view? Do you also think there is a common goal? Or Oliver first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think the common goal is to provide a solid ground for people to work on, and the common goal that I think unites everyone. I spoke to Alex and briefly to Oliver this morning. Is the one common goal is to actually enable people to get thinking and get creative, to actually have them not worry about the technology, but worry about what this technology can do and what benefit it can bring to all humankind. So that's something that I think, if I'd have to say one thing, I think is really do our homework to make things, we all do our homework to get people into the creative mode.
So I think we certainly share the goal that we all want to give quantum a push to get it to really valuable applications as soon as possible. Obviously for the reason because we're companies and it's a growing market, so that, to be honest, that's also important. We're startups and there needs to be a market, and that's also a challenge. So the sooner we get into a mature market, the better it is for the growing ecosystem, I guess. But of course, there's a big vision and promise of quantum technologies, and we're a growing team. We're now more than 50 employees, and I think what drives all of them is the vision that by enabling this new thing, this revolution, they can contribute to something really exciting, which has a huge impact and has the potential to solve really pressing issues of our society. And this is still years away, obviously, but I hope we're getting there, and we all try to get there as soon as possible. And I think that's what's driving many, if not all, the startup companies that are emerging of this field and the academic sector.
And where do you see the highest demand? So, of course, everybody's nowadays talking about, if you read the press, it's about quantum computing. That's also where US protects some inventions and so on and so forth to other countries. Is that the big topic, or is it in quantum cryptography, or is it in quantum communication, or in quantum sensing? So I know also you have different backgrounds, but where do you see in general the highest demand?
Demand for what?
From the market. So you mentioned it. So one thing is, of course, investment money. So where are investors putting money in and why? And the other thing is also probably from industries, from corporates or from wherever players in the world that would like to use or leverage these solutions that are not yet ready. But you mentioned it takes probably years to get there.
Yeah. So I clearly see demand in all these verticals. They're all moving ahead at different pace. I think quantum communication is already very far, not as far as perhaps computing. But if you look into the verticals in detail, you see there are different technology platforms. They all have different requirements. So you need a lot of classical enabling technologies, and they all have a large and growing demand. So I think it's a huge and quickly growing field. And I wouldn't say we need more here or more there. There are niches everywhere, and they're growing quickly. And you just have to decide where you start with a company, where you start working at. We're focusing with cryogenic cooling. We're mainly focusing on computing, supporting the development of computing components and qubit systems. But we're also in the field of communication and even sensing, because they all need cryogenic cooling.
Probably this is really a hard question to answer. Probably we can see it from a different view. We can say, okay, there's different majorities of technology, or let's say the level or the complexity level is high for some and not so high for others. So I would also agree that quantum key distribution, for instance, is relatively mature with the technology we have now. It could be better, definitely. So if we think of growing or support this section of, then we probably have to fund into different kind of stuff. I mean, let's take quantum computing. It's more basic science things which needs to be solved, really, and they need probably some really new solutions. Where, for instance, for quantum communication, as another part which is very already relatively mature, you need the funding in the structure itself. Yes, so there is more. We have questions, for instance, from political side to get accreditation or certification for certain protocols that they can be implemented. For now, it's just, for instance, more or less academics or on the path to industry, that some industry is checking this technology, but in the end, to get into the communication network, we need certifications and accreditations, and this is also a little bit the political awareness or the political pressure to do so. Yeah. Whereas, for instance, for quantum computing, I guess because all the global players are there, so there's a high demand, there's a big market, potentially the biggest of all. And but here you need more funding into the base science stuff. So I guess there are different branches we are funding too, if you see it all as a tree, for instance. So we are different levels, and so I guess everyone would have a different wish from politics or so, what they have to do or so.
That will follow. Carsten, any thoughts from your end regarding the demand of the three different parts?
No, I can just conclude that I think they are on a very different time scale. Some are more mature, that they will come earlier in getting industry maturity now, maybe in 2-3 years' time. Quantum computing definitely needs a couple of years more. Then, as you said, quantum communication needs infrastructure. Quantum sensing is probably a very high volume market. Quantum computing can be either, if you're in the classical, the sort of classical quantum computing where you have cryostats, large infrastructures around them, so probably then we have only a few of them. Or if you can go really to let's say quantum accelerators where you have also a large volume. So I think it's very difficult to compare them. It's a complete different market segments, different timings, and they all have their relativity there.
Okay, Oliver, last words from your end.
Yeah, we spoke a lot about difficulties. I like challenges.
No, the demand. I was asking where you see the highest demands, not challenges.
The fun thing is the fun thing is we don't know where the demand is. We're still at a very early stage of the market. And it's going to be a race. Everybody's racing, the technologies are racing, and this is also what startups are made for. We're made for racing. We're there to speed things up, to really hit the ground running. So this is really what we want to drive. All of us want to drive is that we want to make sure that for whatever niche, whatever branch each of the companies supports, we're driving it forward. And yeah, we're not a huge flagship like maybe some of the capital companies here, but we are the ones that can. Well, you better believe it. We can put a Bunsen burner under their chairs, and we can make a move really, really fast if we drive things fast.
Absolutely agree. Couldn't agree more. Anyway, you mentioned that we are talking about challenges. Yes, I want as a next topic I would talk about the challenges because, of course, it's interesting. There is money coming in, but I also read about resource topics. So, what are your biggest challenges that you see in building up the company? Let's talk about the company, not only the technology. Of course, it can be technology, it can be regulation, it can be finding the right people. Would be interesting to hear that from your perspectives.
Sure. So Cohersense takes a bit of a different approach to classical startups. We're financing ourselves from the revenue we generate.
Yeah.
So we decided very early on to run as far as we can without investors to avoid additional stakeholders in the process. We'd rather work with stakeholders in the market.
Yeah.
So as part of our incubation program, we ran with very active feet on the ground approach. We talked to a lot of companies, and the challenge is also in economic hard times to make them stick because, of course, this is a different funding scheme than if you're running it. The good news is this kind of Kickstarter mentality where we are giving out technology to the market for relatively low price does have an advantage for the market because especially people can start getting used to technology. And new technology always needs acceptance, and building that faith is into small and new technologies is, I think, the biggest one. So if there's one thing I can wish for, is courage and faith into what the new players do, and not only look at what the big ships are doing.
Thank you for that statement, Alexander.
I agree on that. So if you develop something really new as a startup, it takes time until it's really accepted by the big players in the market. So that's certainly a challenge. And the other challenge I see, and I think that's something we all share, that the timeline of the quantum market is quite unclear. And that's a major challenge for growing companies who need financing. So you somehow have to bridge the gap to market maturity. So that's a tricky one. Our strategy to get there is a dual track. So we're now selling the shovels to the miners in this quantum gold rush. So we're selling like tools that are needed already today in the quantum R&D, the characterization, the testing, and at the same time we're already working on the cryogenic platforms that will be needed in the future in a more mature market. But I think that's one of the major challenges, this unclear timeline, because nobody knows about the coming potentially really disruptive changes, because there are so many new players in the field and you just don't know when we will get to the breakthrough.
Yeah, for our company, so we are more integrators, I would say. So we have not really technology, so we don't make chips for detecting something or something. So we need our suppliers. It's a very important thing. So each development in the fields of our suppliers is helpful for us. And so we sell whole systems, so a whole solution. And for this, we need customers who are really are bold enough to be early adapters of this technology. And then we have back the trust thing, and having the first adaptation to something, someone is using it, then others will jump on the train, and then, this is then hopefully an avalanche, and this is where we aim for. So our technology is aimed for mass production, so that we can integrate a lot of systems in a short time. So we are waiting for this growing market curve.
The hockey stick.
So which can be, and then we come to the timeline, in 2 years, it can be in 20 years. I hope not in 20 years, but you never know.
Yeah. So the biggest challenge, to summarize from your point of view, is to find the right amount of customers to get there.
And we need still
the
time
traction.
for technology.
Yeah.
The scheduling is hard. Yeah, we want to be prepared. If it comes too early, this is always a hard thing for startups. Investing too early, you need a good timing, and the timing is something which. This is like in the music. You need at least 2 beats before to get the timing. We just had 1 or so. I don't know. We don't know when the next beat comes. So timing is very difficult. So to say.
Carsten, your statement to that. Latest
So
one.
I agree. Timing is really difficult to judge. I guess for me there are more challenges. There's so we try to be on the fast-growing side with a lot of VC money also in. We see it really changed. The whole investment market has changed over the last 2 years with increased tax rates, investment rates. It's really more difficult to get the money. They're more risk-averse. This is one challenge. The other challenge is getting talents in. If you want to grow, to get talents in, I mean, we are all competing for the same talents from the same universities. So that is a challenge. And for us as a full stack company, it's really, in the moment, we really need to develop the full stack of a quantum computer. And that's nothing we do because we want to, but because there are too little partners or possible partners that can take over part of the stack. So we see that this is growing now. And that helps really that we can focus on what is really our value proposition, what is our technical focus, and giving more stuff away. But this is developing just now, and so I think that helps us really focusing and speeding up processes by just giving away stuff into the ecosystem.
Thank you very much. We are already at the last question, and I would like to ask you to give you a very short answer, probably 1 sentence. You already brought it somehow, Oliver. If you could make a wish, what do you need from industry partners or venture capitalists or academia or whomever? What would your priority wish that you have? That's now the chance.
So my wish would be that we support from a venture and government side, not only startups in the seeding phase, which is really good in Germany, but then afterwards, Series A, B, C, when you really have an idea and when you really need to get money in, real money, then it's really getting difficult here in Germany. That is an infrastructure that's missing here for companies on the growth path.
So bigger investment appetite for
growth path.
More Series A, B, and C.
So from politics, it's this was more or less of politics, or let's say society, that it's that the long-term investment thing. This I agree totally. I have another one, maybe from supplier market to supply subcomponents which are industrial orientated and not academics orientated, because this is often where we have to separate companies who are willing to go the industrial way, less performance, less footprint, but cheaper, something like this.
Growth capital.
Okay.
ABC, later rounds, very important and very hard to get in Germany and Europe. Super important, otherwise all the innovation and employment is just lost to non-EU countries, so that's a big issue. From politics, funding really dedicated also with large budget, large tickets, specifically also for enabling tech, because there are also challenges in enabling tech. And we have a lot of funding for really flagship quantum systems, which is great and important because they're driving the whole field, but there's not so much funding available for purely enabling tech. So that would also be something on my wish list to be able to move faster and get funding also for these new enabling technologies.
Thanks, Alexander.
Yeah, I said it already. It's courage. We have to move beyond German Ängstlichkeit. So that's the real thing that we need, and that holds for every aspect of the business. If we want to be the world leader, we better step up and we better be bold.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that last statements. It was a pleasure to have you here on stage. Thanks a lot, Carsten, Oliver, and Alexander. I wish you a lot of success with your startups, and that all the money will flow, and that industry partners will come, and also the government will invest in your businesses. Thank you very much. Thanks. Have a great trade show.